So here's the opener. Look at my shirt. Look how cool that shirt is. Look at that. Look, Yoda looking pretty cool right there, right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Welcome, friends. LostScarf here, and it's time for the vlog. It's going to be a short one, because I've already spent 4 takes on this, so it's going to be short and concise and everything. Okay, so first up, June. Professor Layton LP ends, and Sekiro LP will end by the end of June. Smash Brothers LP just ended. So next week we'll see Total War 3 Kingdoms going the shoe. We'll see Super Smash Brothers come back on occasion whenever DLC characters come out. Pretty hype about the hero and about Banjo-Kazooie, so that's pretty awesome there. E3 I watched it in post and watch it live this time. I just wasn't really interested, and I'm glad I did, because just the highlights were just better than overall. There's just so much cringe, and there were good moments with so much cringe as well. And overall, I think it was not a bad E3, but it just wasn't as hype as last year. Last year was just much better. When it comes to Direct was really good, so I feel like Nintendo was definitely the best part. I think Microsoft did alright. I think Bethesda was not the best. Like, Doom Eternal was my favorite part of that one. What was it? Square Enix? Square Enix just has things, sure. EA, it just wasn't as great. Also, just, Sony not being there is very interesting, because Sony had very good production, but was also just hilariously awful at points. And that whole missing was not so great either. So in July, we will have, besides Total War 3 Kingdoms, we're also going to have A Link to the Past, and we will have the other one. What was the other one? Oh my god, I forgot. I can't believe I forgot. Let me look at my calendar. It's bad because I already said this 4 times. The other LP is... Oh, Super Mario Maker 2, that's what it is. So Super Mario Maker 2 comes out on the 28th, and we make a bunch of content for it for July. And then we'll have that. And then eventually 3 Houses, so 3 and 3. 3 Houses comes out late July, and then we'll be doing that eventually after Mario Maker, because I expect we'll have some good content in Mario Maker 2, but it won't be going that long, and then 3 Houses will happen eventually. Link's Awakening will end eventually, and will be replaced by... Chrono Trigger, I think that's the plan. I've already forgot when Link's Awakening comes out, because I wanted to have Link's Awakening at some point, but I forgot when that comes out right now off the top of my head. Oops on that. I gotta find that part. I was planning on having an Ori LP, but that's actually going to be in 2020, so the good to know on that one. And also Cyberpunk will have an LP in 2020 as well. Pokemon Sword and Shield will have an LP in November. Alongside, at least the plan is, Doom Eternal in November as well. Really hyped for that. Doom, they know how to... Doom's just a good shooter, the first one. And this one should be a really good shooter too, so I cannot wait for that. Really excited for those, and we'll see what LPs happen between those points. But really, right now, tentatively, I'm thinking it's going to be, we're going to have Lake Layton, Sekiro's going to end. We're going to be doing these hardcores for a little bit, then Mario Maker 2, Link to the Past, eventually Link's Awakening, 3 Houses, Chrono Trigger, Pokemon Sword, Jinx is going to have Shield, Doom Eternal. We're not going to do Wolfenstein Youngblood, because I feel like you want to play as a co-op, and we don't have a co-op buddy. And there's like 2 more games I want to do, and I forgot what they are. Go Scarf on that, go Team Scarf on that. I can't remember, I forgot them. But we have some LPs planned out, and I cannot wait to do them. I'm really excited for that. And then 3 Kings will be going for a couple months, because... oh my god, the journey of Shoot right now was ridiculous. There's a lot of hills and valleys going on in that LP, and it's amazing, and it's intense. I'm 60 hours into it, and I am just still intensely invested, and that's what I want from a game, and that's why Total War 3 Kingdoms is currently my number 1 right now. It really is. We should see Apex again on the side channel eventually. Right now we're just busy doing so much, especially with the job and everything. That's what's happening there. That's everything on the channel. Next Kirby podcast will either be episode 20 or Kirby's Pinball Land. I have not decided yet. And also, yeah, that's everything going on with the channel right now. Also, just work affecting things. I'm going to try to do overtime on the 22nd. That's a Saturday, so we'll see how that affects streaming and stuff on that day. Also, 4th of July week, I'll be in Vegas, so that'll affect things as well. And then Comic-Con week as well is going to affect things. And then I'm going to Disneyland in July as well to see the new Star Wars area. So there's going to be points when I'm just not around and I got to work on things ahead to make sure we're not falling behind. It's going to be kind of nuts. July's going to be nuts for sure. And then August should be slower, but August will be when I start doing swing shift, and that'll affect schedules as well. Because that's working from 2:30, well, driving at 2 to get to work, basically from 2 to 12:30. So there'll be like morning streams, or I just take care of all the stuff I need to take care of, and then, yeah, like it's weird how working in the morning, then you got all this time to do stuff, and then you go to bed. How if you just have it where you just have the morning, and then you do stuff when you work and then go to bed, really changes the schedule and just makes me feel like I have less time to do things. It's weird how that is. But it is what it is. It's weird. So more life stuff. First up is we have a gym at work. My boss is starting to build up a gym, and I'm going to help build up the gym as well. So I'm going to be adding balls. So I'm going to get like a medicine ball, slam ball, dead weight ball, just different balls, again, to add to this gym. It's not a very big gym. Then we get kettlebells, and I think that's what I'm going to add to it, and then probably some other things, whatever I can think of. My boss is going to get freaking gymnastic rings and hang them from the ceiling. Like, that's nuts. I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's what he wants to add to it. And we're going to try to get a bench and some other things, and it should be really fun. And also, like, a jump rope and that stretchy rope thing you do for other things. Like, all that stuff's going to happen. So I'm pretty excited for that. So every paycheck, I'm going to get some more gym equipment in there. And so we should see something affected by that for sure. Also, my boss wants to make a regimen that me and him will do together, and that'll be nuts because he's a CrossFit nut. I'm kind of scared of it, but okay. Like he does the Spartan things, he does the mutters, he does all that stuff, he does those competitions, and just he wants me to work out with him. So I'm gonna have to do it because it's my boss, and I want to impress, but at the same time, I'm going to die. So that's just great. Oh dear. Now, here's the part that I keep trying to condense and do better, and that is talking about just government things. Because I was just thinking about one thing, and it led to another thing, and led to another thing, and it comes down to a couple things. That is, society feels like it hangs by a thread because we kind of do that to ourselves, and also, we'll do it to ourselves for different reasons. But first up, what got me there was I was just thinking about taxes. I got now a full-fledged operator, my pay went up, and it put me in a new tax bracket. And I paid double the taxes I paid before. It's like, woo, damn. But I am making more money overall. So because of that, it's fine, of course. Because, yeah, I'm just making more money overall, so it's fine to pay those more taxes. I don't know where the taxes are going to go. I'm in California. Taxes go to a lot of things in California. I really need that pot money to just fill up other things, so not have to worry about getting taxed more. California does tax quite a bit, but we do have a lot of programs, and we are a very big state. And it led me to think about laws and everything, where you got Republicans and Democrats, and there are a lot of things about California that you think Republicans would love, but they hate. Because, Republicans are more about they're more about local and state law over federal law. That's really what they are. While Democrats really like federal law, and Democrats are a little more law happy as well than Republicans are. And it's the weirdest thing is Republicans are more about, just at least to abortion, is Republicans are more about just letting people have more autonomy, where they have more control over their own fate, their own destiny, than the government affecting them. Even though they like more state law and local law, they also like just not having as much laws on the individual as possible, even though they like it more on that one. They hate federal more than anything. Whereas Democrats are more federal, and then using laws, the idea behind laws for, this is very generalizing, but for the Republicans, it's laws for how people should be, while Democrats are more laws for how people might be. That's not the right way to word it, but it's one is people should be this or that, and the other one is, statistically speaking, people have done these things, so we need to restrict those things. That's the better way to put it. And so that's why we have restrictions like the smaller magazines in California. I have a lot of military in my family, and every time they go to the gun range and I join them, they bitch about gun laws. They always bitch about gun laws, and they bitch about these things they can't buy. They bitch about the smaller magazines and these things. And I get why it is, But they're mad about it because they're responsible gun owners. But it's not about them. It's about the irresponsible gun owners. It's about the people who want to use guns for bad things. And this is the disconnect between the two sides, where for gun owners and Republicans, for the most part, for my generalization here, it is because they're responsible gun owners, why are they being held back? And for Democrats, the reason why they're being held back is because there's also the not responsible gun owners. And those people are crap. And you need to restrict them or else they'll do even more harm, because it has happened where shooters are restricted by the smaller magazines and they get caught reloading. And they're not able to do as much damage as they could if they had the bigger magazines. Truth of the matter is, those magazines, like, it's the big magazine. It's just that it gets restricted on the inside. If you really, really are a madman and want to do worse, you could fix that problem inside the magazine so you can do the bigger mags. Like, it's really... And this is the bigger thing, is society relies on humanity not being as awful as we fearmonger it to be. Because if we were as awful as fearmongering says we are, as many shootings as we have, and we have a lot of them, it would be even worse. Because considering we have 300 million people and how often shootings are, it should be even worse considering how much fearmongering does. And it shouldn't just be guns. It should be, like, just cars and even worse stuff with, like, bombs and stabbings and acid attacks and all that stuff. For the most part, we just deal with guns, thankfully. But a car could easily just plow through a bunch of people. Thankfully, that doesn't happen. Thankfully, that is extremely rare. And bombs, luckily there's a lot of tight lid on that, so bombs don't really happen that often, thankfully. That gets caught a lot. But because we are so much in love with guns are the easiest thing to get access to and to cause a lot of harm with, and so that has been the go-to thing in America to hurt people with, is guns. And so restrictions on that, I feel, are fine. And I really am confused by gun rights people who aren't okay with psych evaluations and background checks, because that leads to more responsibility. That leads to just a better standard for gun ownership, because if we love guns so much, why aren't we just better about responsibility across the board with them? That's my question right there. There's only 5 states where you need a permit for open carry, and there's 31 states where you don't need anything at all for open carry. And yeah, guns are alright, but there are just bad people. And it's just, I really feel like it should be a license, like we have for cars, where you prove you're a responsible gun owner. You prove that you know how to store your guns correctly, because unfortunately, kids keep playing with guns and getting shot. That's not good. That's never good. Society, we're doing better, even though we're doing pretty awful. We're doing better than we could be, because there's a lot of fear-mongering. News does a lot of fear-mongering. In general, that's how things are. It's always the extremes. It's always about the extremes. The reason why it's always about the extremes is because that's what gets people's attention. Because the middle stuff, the more mundane stuff, does not get people's attention, and that is a failing for Americans. Probably people in general, but I'm going to say Americans because I only know America more than anything else. And so it's a failure for us, and this is why we only get attention on things in the extreme cases. Like abortion. The extreme cases of abortion for both sides are what gets people's attention. Same thing for guns, with the shootings and everything. It's the extreme sides of things. Any law really gets a bunch of attention when it's the extremes. And it's very unfortunate. We don't get more interest in the middle, which is very not great. In truth, I wish high school taught, especially for seniors, because seniors usually coast. I coasted in senior year. I'd love it if we got tax. Just learning about taxes, because I'm having a pain-ass time learning about taxes. Learning about credit, learning about loans, debt, all that stuff. Learning about politics. Having a good foundation for kids who are going to become adults soon. I would love it if we just had better knowledge there. Because, honestly, we get dumber as we get older because we're not forced to learn anymore. We learn by choice. That's really what it is. And not everyone chooses to learn. A lot of us just end up in the sand because we'd rather just be in the sand not learning anything. That is the honest to goodness truth. I've learned a lot around things, but I've also not learned a lot around things. Just, I could learn more. I know that always. I could always learn more. And the things I learn are just what's interesting to me. I'm not doing enough where I can just learn things that might be helpful. Like, I need to learn better about tax and learn better about retirement and all those things. Well, instead I'm just learning about science and biological things, because that's what's interesting me. I'm getting smarter in biology and in sciences, But I should be getting smarter about taxes. I should be getting smarter about retirement, especially now that I have a job that I can actually pay retirement right now. Like, I'm finally maxing out my retirement. At least soon I'm going to, now that I got this bigger check. So that's good. I should be getting smart about that. And just a better foundation would help with that. And I feel like that would help a lot of people, because a lot of people are just dumb about things. We're dumb about politics. We're dumb about taxes. We're dumb about just being responsible. And high school is the best chance at us getting smarter about that. Especially with politics. How many people don't know an alderman? How many people don't know the difference between the House and the Senate? There's a lot of people who don't know the difference between those two things. They don't understand how important the Senate is when it comes to the Supreme Court. They don't understand how important the House is, or how these two work together, and how they're a check and a balance and all that stuff. They don't really understand it. People just focus on the president for the most part. And so, really, society just relies on... this is the other thing, is society relies on us just being decent people. Despite how much fear-mongering says we're all awful people, it relies on how decent we are for the most part. Like, we can still have cruel thoughts and awful bigoted thoughts and racism and all these things. That's all things, and like vote in that way. But think about the criminal element of things. It could be so much worse, because it relies on, and just thinking about construction and the tools that I've used in construction, you can easily get through locks and chains and so many things just with bolt cutters or certain power tools easily and instantly. I think it's a hot saw or something like that, where I can't remember the name of it right now because it's been a while. But there is a tool you can easily buy at Home Depot, and that can get through a lot of things. And you could just break into whatever you want. You can steal whatever you want. Society relies on just people not being that shit. And it just blows my mind when I think about it. I was like, yeah, we could easily, like, if I had no morals, if I had none of that stuff, I could easily steal a lot of things. Because I know what tools can be used for that. But thankfully, I'm not that. I'm a nice, good person. And thankfully, a lot of us are. A lot of us do have morality. Or we're scared enough of law to not do bad things. By the way, also another reason why I don't do anything is because my prints are on file. I used to work for the government. I know damn well if I was a criminal, I'd get caught real quick. Because my prints, you just cast me on this. Done. There you go. I think I like how I've ended this take, because it was just always downer, and I want more energy to it, but not so much downer to it. I just think we could just do better. That's really... This is... So many vlogs over the years have just been saying we could do better. And then again, these vlogs are not catharsis. They're just me getting my thoughts out. That's really what they are. And I just always wish we could do better. And that's not a bad thought to have. And it probably does get tiresome, but so that's why I try to say it in different ways. And really, it's always going to be weird to me. Just end it with this. It's always going to be weird to me how abortion is handled, how it is, because Republicans are very much about autonomy of the person. Not forcing people to do things. But then abortion happens, and then you force people to have to carry things they really don't want to. And of course it goes to extremes, where the extreme reasons where they still have to carry it despite these extreme things. That's very unfortunate. And there's not a lot of talk about the mundanity about abortion and things like that. It's always about the extremes. It's very unfortunate. But it's really weird how it's all about just autonomy of the person, but in this one you're forced. You are forced by the group that's more about not being forced to do things. Very odd. Very odd. So I'm going to end the vlog with this funny story, and that is, I'm very vaudeville. I think we know that, especially from tweets and everything. I'm a very vaudeville person. Not on purpose, that's just how my life is. And today, I was using a fire hose. And I won't get too technical, but I usually clean down these plates that are at work, where these plates, a bunch of muck and stuff get on them to clean up the water. And so you got to clean them off so that stuff doesn't get caked, and then you end up not capturing as much. So I'm cleaning off with a fire hose, like 100, 120 psi. And somewhere in the hose just pops. Not pops, but just like it just breaks open and water's just spraying. It is spraying. And unfortunately, it is spraying exactly at where the friggin', I'm gonna say spigot, where the spigot is. That's not exactly the right word. It's the supply point, where the water's being supplied. It's going exactly there. Something really noisy was outside. I don't know if you heard that. So that's where it's going. And so it's like, okay, that's just great. So I go and I move the part of the hose that's got burst. I just roll it over and I go to turn it off, and it just rolls back and just gets me. Just splashes me right through the back. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I go and just roll it back again, and I run over to tighten it some more. And this time I do a different angle, so I'm looking at what I'm doing, so I'm ready for it, but it rolls faster than I expected, and it just gets me in the front. So I'm like, son of a bitch. So I just roll it again, and then this time I just keep the back, like I'll be drier if it comes back on me, and it's just tightening and tightening and tightening, and I tighten it up, and I'm just drenched and soaked. And that's Scarf. That's me. I'm too busy being a vaudevillian to be a villain, I suppose. That's my life, and I hope that was funny. So there you go, that right there is the vlog. I had fun talking, I had fun watching and listening, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.